All right, so this is the second part of the video for chapter 8. I just didn't think I could get them all into one. So this will be should be relatively quick. We're just talking about market positioning. Um, Basic market position is nothing more than how the product or product position. A product position is how the product is defined in the minds of the consumer. All right, and based on its important attributes. All right, in a nutshell, what we call the value proposition. The value proposition is something that's different about our product that adds value. Uh, it might not be completely different product, but we do one part that differentiates ourselves, one part of the whole different or better that differentiates ourselves from others. Now, the most obvious would be price, right? If you choose for your value proposition to be where you are the price leader, we are the low price leader, right? That's what we're going for. That's our position in the minds of our customers. If I want the cheapest, boom, I know that they are the cheapest, right? But there's many other differentiations that we could deal with. Okay, so um, we have like specific product attributes, right? It's things that are very specific to our product. Um, Now, product attributes you got to be careful with. The book gives an example of a hotel who chose an attribute that nobody cared about. All right. When you're choosing an attribute, it has to be something that is in line with the needs and wants of the segments, that your target segments. Okay. So that example I was talking about was where the world's, I think it was Dubai. It was the world's largest, or excuse me, physically tallest building hotel in the world. Right. We have the tallest hotel in the world. That's very impressive. Right. But does that attract people to one hotel over the other? Not really. All right. They found out that it did the exact opposite. The people that weren't bothered by a tall building weren't really drawn by it either. But there were some people that were bothered by a tall building. That people who were worried about, well, how do I get out of 100 story? How do I get down off the 100 stories, 100th floor, if there's a fire or something? Right. Some people are really concerned about that. I don't want to be on the top of the world. Okay. You have to, if you're choosing an attribute, you need to make sure that it has other needs than just um, for the sake of being the tallest building in the world. All right. Um, okay. Emotional appeal. Our position might be, there are some nostalgic companies out there that as soon as you see their logo, you have this feeling in your chest about a time or something else or whatever. That could be a means of positioning. Then competitive advantage. Competitive advantage could be many different things. Let's see. It could be you do something better than everybody else, right? We are the best at this or the best at that or whatever. So you're going to position yourself from one of those things. Now, this is different than the attribute. This is actual, the attribute just might be, our buildings are blue. So what, right? But a competitive advantage is we have this feature that nobody else has. Now, the thing about why we're talking about positioning when we're talking about right after segmentation is we have this feature that nobody else has, which appeals to this particular segment, but it doesn't appeal to this other segment. All right. So that's why we segment and we create positions, and we decide what position that we want to be fulfilled within this segment. Now, in a perfect world, we'd be able to have a position in the minds of our entire market. But might not work because the wants and needs of this segment is different than another segment. So we're doing this by segment. We're saying, okay, we're differentiating segmentation, which means we're choosing 3 or 4 different segments that we want to have specific marketing mixes for. Our position with each one is going to be different potentially. All right. Especially when we're talking about competitive advantage. The competitive advantage, this one feature that we have over others, is a competitive advantage for this segment, is not for this segment. Does that make sense? There's people that do entire degrees on positioning and marketing in this way. So I'm just really briefly touching on it. It's just basically positioning is nothing more than how we want to be seen by our customers. And more importantly, which customers or how we want to be seen by each group of customers, because how we want to be seen by this one is different than how we want to be seen by this one. Doesn't mean that we're lying to one to the other one, but what we're focusing on as projecting our image to these people is going to be different than how we project our image to these folks. We have something as easy as differentiation might be location. All right, there are companies out there that look at Cracker Barrel, barring whatever problems they've had recently. Cracker Barrel was always somebody that could be found near an airport, right, or major travel routes, right. There's a lot of restaurants that are only found on the exits from major interstates, right. That could be a definitely a position. That could be a position for our company, right? That could be our product positioning. We want to be known like just when I used Cracker Barrel as an example. My brain was just going, okay, who's known for their, maybe they're not location as far as this town, this city, but a generalization of a type of location along the highways. When I was thinking about that, boom, my mind immediately went to Cracker Barrel. Some people might look at them differently, but a different segment might look at them differently. They might look at more of the nostalgia or whatever. But for me, I just went for that. All right, so hopefully that makes sense to you. Image. Are we known as now price leaders, right? We talked about price leaders. There's an image that comes with price too. The opposite of price leader is very, very expensive. There are folks that they want to be, their position, these companies' position is high end, right? That is a very effective position with certain segments. Not every segment. If I break my segment down into folks that make less than $50,000 a year and folks that make millions of dollars a year, well, there's obvious one segment that I'm going to want that position on. Now, I could be the same company, right? And my position for this segment, the $1 million a year people, is one way, but my marketing mix and my position that I'm trying to achieve for the others, I might try to be in both. Probably not, but I could be in both. I just have a different position for each. Okay. So, this is way more psychological and consumer oriented, and there's all kinds of different books written about this stuff that I can do in a 10-minute video. All right, I'm just trying to give you a brief overview of the book, and quite frankly, there's a lot of other textbooks and a lot of other folks that look at it this slightly different. But as far as what we're learning here in this class, this was just a brief overview of that. I encourage you all, if you're ever going to be opening your own business and you're ever going to be successful, that when you start segmenting your market and you start trying to target market segments and you're trying to position your company to really look into the different things you can do, because it's a fascinating topic. There's many different theories on it. There's many different ways to go about it. All right. So that's it for this video, and I will see you later.